The saints understood that there were some serious reasons for humor. So let's really quickly take a look at 10 reasons for joy, humor, and laughter in the spiritual life. Number 1, humor evangelizes. Joy and laughter show one's faith in God. An essentially positive outlook on life shows people that if you're a Christian, you believe in the resurrection, in the power of life over death, and then the power of love over hatred, or more simply, as a believer, you believe in God. When I was a Jesuit novice, the superior general of the Jesuits, a fellow named Peter Hans Kolpenbach, came to our novitiate. Most religious orders these days are concerned about declining numbers, so someone asked him the best way to increase vocations, and he said without hesitating, live your own joyfully. Why would anyone want to join a group of miserable people? As an aside, the superior general of the Jesuits, as you may know, is usually called Father General, or more simply, the General. In the 1960s, another Father General, Pedro Arrupe, who had a great sense of humor, was visiting a Jesuit school in New York called Xavier High School. At the time, all the boys in the school wore military uniforms and had military drills and things like that. When it was announced that Father General was coming to visit, the school decided that all the students would line the street wearing their uniforms as a way of giving Father General a special welcome. Anyway, a friend of mine was accompanying Father General, and he said that the General's car drove down the street in between hundreds of students in uniform. When he opened the door and got out, suddenly everyone snapped to attention and saluted, and Father General said, "Ha, now I feel like a real general." Number 2, humor is a tool for humility. We can tell jokes about ourselves to deflate our egos, which is a good thing, especially for anyone working in an official capacity in the church. For example, that Jesuit joke I told at the beginning is fun to tell. I love the Society of Jesus, but jokes remind me that Jesuits need to be careful about being too proud of their accomplishments or too focused on too many practical matters. You know the story of the 3 priests, the Franciscan, the Dominican, and the Jesuit were on retreat together? Anyway, they received this special grace of finding themselves right at the nativity scene. So they're kneeling before the nativity, and the Dominican says to Mary, "Oh, the joy of seeing the Word made flesh, of seeing the incarnation, of witnessing the hypostatic union of the divine and the human." And the Franciscan says to Jesus, "Oh, the joy of seeing how the Son of God identifies with the poor and chooses to be born in poverty and among the dear animals that he loves so much." And the Jesuit says to St. Joseph, "Have you considered a Jesuit high school yet?" Humor deflates puffed up egos. It reminds us not to take ourselves with deadly seriousness, and that goes for people at the very top. When Pope John the 23rd was in Rome, he got a letter from a little boy named Bruno. "Dear Pope," wrote Bruno, "I am undecided. I don't know if I want to be a policeman or a pope. What do you think?" "Dear Bruno," wrote the popes obviously had more time to write letters in those days. "Dear Bruno," wrote the Pope, "if you want my opinion, learn to be a policeman, for that cannot be improvised. As regards being Pope, anyone can be Pope. The proof is that I have become one. If you're ever in Rome, please stop by, and I will be glad to talk this over with you." That's an important way that the saints used humor, as a tool in their quest for humility. 3, humor shocks listeners into recognizing reality. In other words, humor goes right to the point. St. Francis of Assisi once said, "Preach the gospel, use words when necessary." That's clever and even funny, but it's also a profound truth. St. Andrew Avellino was a 17th century canon lawyer who entered the Theatines. One day a pious priest asked him, I love this, "Father Avellino, how long should one stay at the bedside of a sick person?" Rather than offer a lengthy explanation, Avellino said, "Always be brief. There are 2 advantages. If they like you, they'll want you back. If you're boring, their displeasure will be very short." 4, humor speaks truth to power. A witty remark is a time-honored way to challenge the pompous, puffed up, or the powerful. Jesus of Nazareth deployed humor in this way, exposing and diffusing the arrogance of religious authorities with clever parables. Humor is a weapon in the battle against arrogance and pride that sometimes infects the church. A friend told me once, this is another true story, that her mother was once in the hospital at the same time a local bishop was. After the operation, the bishop took it on himself to go room from room visiting all the patients. When he visited my friend's mother, who was recovering from a difficult surgery, he patted her on the head and said, "Dear, I know exactly how you feel." And she said, "Really? When was your hysterectomy?" 5, humor shows Christian courage. As I mentioned, St. Lawrence showed his courage to his torturers during his martyrdom. It was a challenge to his executioners and a bold profession of faith. In that same vein, St. Thomas More in the 16th century stepped up to the chopping block, and as he climbed the steps to his beheading, said to his executioner, "I pray you help me on the way up. I will take care of myself on the way down." That brand of humor says, "I do not fear death."